What's up, and welcome back to the Kinda Funny Screencast. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by, for one of the very last times, it's Christmas in February, Joey
I
Noel.
was like, what? What?
I know, that sounds way more sinister than
Yeah.
I was expecting. I know, we are coming up on the end of the month where I get into my birthday cocoon and I come out another beautiful butterfly for another month.
I love that. I love that so fucking much. Somebody, please, we need some fan art of that stat. And also, rounded out the crew, we have Kevin on the ones and twos, and he'll be like popping in every once in a while. But it's been a while since we've had him on the show. We have a lot of TV things to talk about. So we have my beautiful little movie Maple Leaf, Matt Rorabeck.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
one. The movie Maple Leaf is good. I like that.
Yeah, it's because he's from Canada. And that's
Yeah,
where my
we got
humor
it.
lies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin,
Every
that
time.
was for you.
Canadian
Yeah.
tuxedo, Canadian. Just Google Canadian and you'll find
And
out.
see, something will pop up. Of course, this is the Kind of Funny Screencast where each and every week we get together, sometimes multiple times a week, to talk about what we think about the latest in TV and movies and trailers. We've been doing a lot of weekly TV shows. We've done episode by episode reviews for Peacemaker and for the Book of Boba Fett, but we're kind of in a lull right now where we don't have new things coming out that we're reacting to every week. So we wanted to go back to a more traditional, just what we've been watching, talk about all the other shows that don't get the special weekly treatment here. But speaking of the weekly treatment, we are going to be returning next week with some real fun. We are going to be doing a screencast spoiler-free review of the Batman, in addition to our Kind of Funny in review with the normal crew, ranking it against the other Batman movies. I am extremely excited about that. We also, next Monday, will be doing a Euphoria Season 2 review after the finale drops this Sunday, which I am incredibly excited. I haven't been able to talk to people about it, so this is going to be a great time. Of course, you can get the show on youtube.com/kindafunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also get it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Screencast. We'll be right there for you. If you wanted to get the show ad-free, if you wanted to watch it live as we record it, you got to go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like our Patreon producers Gordon McGuire, Molecule, and at James Davis Makes have done. Today we're brought to you by Purple Mattress and DoorDash. We'll have to talk about that later because there's so much TV, so little time to talk about. I want to talk about the Afterparty. One of life's most beautiful little coincidences that happen every once in a while. Now, just a little behind the scenes for people. Every couple months, me and Joey pull up this spreadsheet and we sit there like Tetris masters, just trying to put everything together, make sure the schedule all lines up. And it very rarely does. But every once in a while, there's a beautiful moment where it just perfectly lines up week after week. Then Morbius happens, it gets delayed, and it throws off my plans. And so
It's
we
Morbius or it's New Mutants, the thorns in our sides.
But this was actually a very good issue because it left us a spot with 2 back-to-back weeks, and we're like, what are we going to review? So we did in review for 21 and 22 Jump Street from Lord and Miller, who are absolutely incredible. It just happened to be while the premiere of their show, or at least one of their shows, the Afterparty on Apple TV happened.
So you didn't plan that at all?
I didn't plan that at all. It just happened. And I was like,
I remember
this is
messaging
great.
Joey about that, and I was like, you guys planned that or no?
No. The most relevant they've been, like they were in interviews constantly, like Twitter was ablaze with their names. Like this is awesome. But Matt, can you give us the pitch on what the Afterparty is?
Well, whodunit's really hot right now with 5 Cream, Death on the Nile. I think since Knives Out, I feel like we've been getting like a constant flow of kind of whodunits. And the Afterparty is a 8-episode series on Apple TV Plus, where a pop star named Xavier is mysteriously killed at a after party for a high school reunion. And the twist is that each episode is told in a different genre of film, each from a different perspective of one of the people at the high school reunion who are at this party, basically giving you kind of a different perspective and clues each episode, while also kind of really kind of diving deep into like different film techniques and different jokes based on what genre it is. With a fantastic cast that, Sonic the Hedgehog's in there, Ben Schwartz, and who I can't wait to talk about. He's
The episode
fishy.
with Sonic.
Yeah. But
Totally
a great
forgetting that's
cast,
Ben.
and with that classic Lord and Miller kind of humor sprinkled in throughout it, and it's just the creativity of like those two guys. I think are the kind of one of the most creative like duos in working in Hollywood right now, where they can take any idea, whether it's a bad idea or a good idea, and turn it into something magical. And I've been obsessed with this show. I've been on the Reddit. I've been kind of rewatching episodes. You only get one shot twice, so I have watched every episode 1 through 7 twice now. But anyways, that's the kind of pitch on Afterparty, and I'm loving it. It's so good.
That was a killer drop there. Really appreciated that. I mean, yeah. So this one, it's created by Christopher Miller, produced by Lord and Miller and their new production company. So there's a fancy little emblem you see at the end of the episodes, which is cool. But the cast is insane. Tiffany Haddish, Sam Richardson, Ike Barinholtz, the dude from Cock Blockers, Alana Glazer from Broad City. Dave Franco is Xavier. Like, it is insane. And like, there were so many fun cameos I don't want to spoil for you, but like if you've seen any of their movies, you can kind of expect who you might see pop up, and they're all used to magnificent extents. But yeah, so there are 8 episodes to the show, and as of recording this, we have, as of last night, had 7 of them. So next week will be the finale. I'm really, really interested. Joey, what are you thinking about the show so far?
I really like it. This cast is incredible. Like, even watching the trailer back when it dropped, it was just like, oh my gosh. And even when it was people who I didn't know by name, like Ike Barinholtz, I don't think I would have known just by name, but then I see him and I'm like, oh, it's that guy that's in a bunch of stuff. Zoe Chow was in the first season of Love Life on HBO Max, and she was excellent. She was one of my favorites. So I was really happy to see her in this. And like, even like Broad City's been on my list forever. And so it's been fun to get like a taste of Alana Glazer, to kind of get a vibe of what her stuff is like. My brain is so bad at whodunits in terms of like theorizing and figuring out who it is. It's just like my brain is empty and things are coming in and out, and I'm not retaining anything in terms of like putting the puzzle pieces together. Matt mentioned the subreddit earlier, and it is nuts. It's the wild amount of things that production wise they've put into the backgrounds of like, when you see a shot of the yearbook, people figured out that if you take like the middle initial, it spells out something. And like in the studio, there's
every
like
episode has one of those
image, or there's like dots in the background that like spell out different things. It's wild. And so I feel like this is going to be a show that I'm really enjoying right now. I think it's going to be really fun to watch when it's over, to go back and like see the little hints. And that's almost what I'm more excited about in regards to the show.
Yeah, Matt, like, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think every episode has hit really, really well, from like what the genre is, and to you guys said like the cast and everything like that. And yeah, I've gone deep. Like, I've just like on that subreddit is so much fun just seeing, and like those people are way smarter than I ever could be. But like, it's just, each episode they've planted these clues, like Joey said, where each episode says not something somewhere. And whether it's dots in the background, one says like not Mad Dog, and then if you watch today's episode, you might know who that's not about. And or it says not skier, and then you go, okay, who's the skier? And you can kind of piece in clues like that. So those are like the kind of escape roomy puzzle things that are in the background. But then it's just like a fun, kind of just hilarious show to watch. Like the high school episode, I think, was like the highlight for me, where it's not necessarily, I guess it's tackling high school movies, but for someone who, when I watched that episode, realized I'm like, oh shit, they're all supposed to be like the exact same age I am. Like, cause they're graduating like the same year I graduated high school and stuff like that, or around the same time. I'm like, ooh, this is hitting hard with the music and just the fashion and just how they absolutely nailed the high school experience and just kind of a high school party vibe. But yeah, I mean, my theory, we can get into theories of who we think it is or not, but like, I'm just, my brain does work in that way a little bit, Joey, where I'm like always constantly thinking about in movies, like how they're going to try to get one on me and how I can outsmart them. So like, that's why I love whodunits and why I'm enjoying the shit out of the show. But like, I think it's Sonic the Hedgehog, everyone.
It's funny because I'm kind of in the middle on this, where I am constantly trying to figure things out when I'm watching
Yeah.
movies and shows, but there's something about this show that I really haven't been doing that. I've kind of just been along for the ride, and
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the subreddit or anything yet, but I am excited to see how it all ends up. And like Joey was saying, I think it's going to make me like the show even more, because if you've seen anything they've done, whether it's the Lego movie or Spider-Verse or the Jump Street movies, like there is so much intricacy and layers and connections, and it's always meta. There's always more going on than is on the surface. And this show is so meta from the get-go, and they just kind of keep going deeper and deeper in different ways, and kind of even subverting their own expectations with how the format of some of the episodes goes. I'm interested to see how they all pull it together. I will say that it's been a little uneven for me as a week-to-week show, where I find myself like not as invested in every episode as others. And I think that has to do with like who the focus is and what genre they're tackling. And I feel like some of the genres might have been a little too similar. And this being this late into the season, I'm kind of like, well, we already kind of saw something like this that I enjoyed a little bit more before. And like, I feel like they've went too many levels deep of the meta-ness of like, and then we're going to a flashback where there was a party in high school, and how does that relate to all this stuff? Like, it starts getting a little too much for its own good, I think, but I am ready to be totally proved wrong next episode when they do the whole string explanation of how it all added up together. Because I have full faith in them, and I trust that they know what they're doing, and that is clear. And at the end of the day, every week is an entertaining watch for sure. Like, this cast is so good. The show is consistently funny. And I'm surprised that I'm not more pulled into trying to figure it all out. But I wonder if I saw the subreddit pictures, if I would be clued into like what I should be looking for in a way that I'm not right now.
I think you would, because that's why I went back and watched it a second time, is because like I watched this back in early December, and then I watched it with my fiance, and they gave us 7 out of the 8 episodes, and I thought they gave us the whole season, so we're watching through and like binge watching it almost. So I watched all 7 episodes in like a day in December, and then we were like, oh shit, they didn't give us the finale. I'm like, I have to wait till March.
Oh, what a tease.
I'm like, you have to wait till March to figure out who did this now, and I've seen every episode. And then that's why when it came out and I started seeing the subreddit and people go, oh my God, did you realize in the background on the bleachers in the first episode, there's someone flashing a light, and that is Morse code that says not this. And I was like,
oh my God.
And then I'm like,
it's
what?
nuts.
So then it made me go back and rewatch all the episodes that I had even before other people, because I'm like, I want to see if I'm smart enough to try to find one of these clues before these people on subreddit find them. And I did find one in the animated episode. It's in when the billboard is shown and it says here's another one of those Easter eggs, and then there's lights on the building. The lights line up to the letters that spell not something. And like, I'm like, oh, I found one. I felt proud about that. That's the kind of shit that like after going back and rewatching, I think will be either a lot of fun. Like, don't try to look at the subreddit, maybe try to find those yourself, or find them on the subreddit and go back in the episode and find them. And I think that's why the show will be so much fun. But that's why it was fun rewatching it a second time. And that's why I think I've been even more into can't wait for that finale to see who did it.
One thing I think is really funny that I just noticed is I love how often Sam Richardson gets wet. Like, I swear in every single story, he gets wet in a different way. And I think that's so funny.
I love him. He's just like, he's
great.
Actually very underrated. Like he was in Werewolves Within recently too, which is probably.
He was in the Tomorrow War.
Tomorrow War. Yeah. Tim and I love it.
He showed up in the PAX panel that Blessing put together where they tried to get the most famous person in a Zoom call.
Incredible.
And he just showed up, and
That's
so
awesome.
random.
Yeah. Anyway, Afterparty, it's on Apple TV. Highly recommend you go check it out. I definitely think it's worth your time. And 1 episode to go, so now's the perfect time to catch up.
And they're pretty short episodes too. It's
like
pretty
30
easy one to
minutes,
binge.
40 maybe tops.
Yeah. Moving on to the next show, I want to talk about Pam and Tommy. Have y'all been watching that?
Yes.
Joey
Yes,
Noel, what are you thinking?
So Pam and Tommy. I mean, here's the thing. Sebastian Stan's in it. Of course, I'm gonna watch it.
A lot of him is in it. Yeah,
It's a lot of Sebastian Stan. I obviously knew about Pam and Tommy in the sex tape, but didn't have that much of knowledge about it other than it was a cultural event when I was younger. But this series is really interesting. I don't know what I was expecting based on the pitch of the series, but I guess I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting it to be more of like a biopic about their relationship, and I guess not super centered on like the Seth Rogen character and like the actual logistics around the stealing of the tape. And I guess I didn't even know that it was stolen. But this show is really good. I'm conflicted because there's all of those reports that Pamela Anderson didn't want this out there and stuff like that. And it's just like, that sucks. Like, it must not be really fun for her to have like this whole like period of her life like kind of splashed in the headlines and have to relive through all of it. So like, yeah, exactly. So I am like a little bit conflicted on that side. Also saying that, I think that Lily James is doing a really good job, and like
so good.
She like the fact she just melts into the role, into the look, into the voice, into everything about Pamela Anderson in a way that it's every episode I watch, I'm like trying to see Lily James in there, and I really can't. Sebastian Stan is way more obvious for me. I also like don't really know that much about Tommy Lee, so I think he's always just kind of going to be Sebastian Stan. But people, I know a lot of people that are like Motley Crue and know Tommy Lee, and they're like, he also just like kind of melts into the role. I think that her, like, I way like super sympathetic to everything that they went through just because I didn't know that everything was stolen. I think it's a really interesting retelling, which is why it's like kind of a weird balance between like, oh, they didn't want this story to be rehashed, but I think it shows like a human side of the story that I think was missing from like the initial story that I knew through just tiny memories. Yeah,
exactly.
And like, yeah, references to it and stuff like that.
Matt.
I've seen the entire season, and I thought it was fantastic, but I'm with Joey on a lot of those points where we reviewed it on our show, the whole series, and we were both conflicted on. The series does a really, really great job at kind of being very sympathetic towards Pamela Anderson. And I think it has a really cool balance of different tones from like a crime genre to like just a disturbing and fucked up drama about consent and all these things. But then when you start to bring that up, it's very weird that what Joey said is that Pamela Anderson didn't necessarily want to be involved in this or didn't want this to happen. So while I do think it's very sympathetic towards her, and Lily James is incredible, and I think the whole cast is fantastic, I just think that it is a bit strange that it tackles these subjects, but is a little bit hypocritical based on what it's saying and then what it did, if that makes sense. And I'm just kind of reiterating what Joey said. So like, I think it's my favorite thing Craig Gillespie has done, even though he only directed the first couple episodes. And, you know, he did Cruella recently, and he did I, Tonya. And it's obviously very similar to those of being like character pieces and things like that. But I was always impressed with that. It could be funny at times, disturbing at times. Like, I liked the meet cute episode between Pam and Tommy. Like, I just thought that was such an interesting kind of like romantic comedy, but in kind of like and how raunchy it is. Like, it goes to places that I was definitely not suspecting, even though the subject matter. And it airs on Disney Plus in Canada, so that's also very weird. So
I love that.
So.
Yeah, I'm very similar to where you guys are at with this. Like, I do think that the reality of Pamela Anderson not wanting this to be shown does make it kind of uncomfortable to watch. And I think that the further the show goes on, and you know, I think now we've seen 6 episodes so far, I am enjoying it less and less every week. And I think that's because the first couple episodes took me by surprise so much, and also didn't really feature Pamela's character. So I didn't really have this like conflict in me in those episodes, because it was more dealing with Seth Rogen, which I didn't even expect. Like, I wanted to show
Seth Rogen heavy.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to
show less as it goes on too.
Yeah. Like, essentially blind, where just like Joey, like, I was aware of the stuff, but I was like 5 years old when this happened. Like, all I knew was that Pamela Anderson was like a popular hot woman, and like that was just kind of the end of it. And there was a sex tape, but like, I didn't even know it was stolen. I didn't know the story at all. So watching this is really interesting, because it kind of like feels like a history lesson of like pop culture in a lot of ways, of stuff that we should know, and especially with the context of now of consent and of all the nastiness that comes with sex tapes and things like this,
Yeah.
and that being like such a original one. And especially I love how it deals kind of with the dawn of early internet porn in the show. Like all that stuff's really, really interesting to me.
And piracy of like,
Yeah.
oh, how you, and like, yeah, just the thing, you can never take it back once it's on the internet. It just kind of unfurls.
It's out there now. Yeah. And all that stuff I think is really well handled. You guys are right on the money. Like they are transformed. Lily James is absolutely incredible in this role. She just nails it 10 out of 10. Sebastian Stan, like the fact that I've seen this man's face for hours on end in Marvel movies and forget as often as I forget that the apes in Planet of the Apes movies aren't real. Like that is crazy to me. Like I'm just so in and I believe it. But I was taken aback the most by the first couple episodes because I have never seen something tonally like this show where it does flip between comedy and drama and romance and kind of like thriller, like all these things so just quickly and without cause and effect sometimes. Like it kind of just feels like the show is what it is. And it wasn't until I think Kev told me like, oh, it's by the I, Tonya people. I'm like, that is the most similar thing I've ever seen to this, where it's hard to kind of pinpoint the vibe of it. But I was really into that. And I feel like that kind of got me like really high on this. But somewhere around episode like 4 or 5, I was like, I'm less interested in this now. And I feel like the characters aren't that deep. And I know that might be a weird kind of criticism to lob at this, but for as transformative as the actors are as these characters, like I really don't like how they're handling Pamela Anderson's story in the show, where she's sympathetic, but she's only sympathetic because that's all that she is. Like I feel like they haven't done a good job of giving her any personality trait that's not just a victim or she's nice to people that aren't treated nicely by other people, but it's like she has nothing to herself. And I
but
just
isn't
think
that kind of like a
call.
commentary on like the role that like she played in the 90s, where like she wanted to have that big monologue and they were like, no, you're just gonna be the hot girl, and like she didn't have like a ton of, even like those interviews where she was like talking about who she like idolized and stuff like that, and they like kind of boiled it down where it's like she wanted to have more depth, but they were just not giving her those opportunities.
But I feel like this show is showing the real her, so it's in those real moments we should see the depth, as opposed to just kind of like her constantly, even when she is alone or with her mom or whatever. Like I just feel like it's a missed opportunity, and I just think that it makes me feel extra uncomfortable given the fact that she doesn't want the show. She doesn't want the story told. Like that's my only thing, is I feel like I'm not learning anything new about Pamela Anderson, the person, from watching this show. And I think that kind of is the thing that rubs me the wrongest way of it all. And I'm just getting less interested because it does just kind of feel like they're kind of going in circles a little bit.
It does take a while
with where we're at now. And we have 2 episodes left, so we'll see how it all plays out. But I am pretty low on it now compared to how high I was from episodes, I'd say 1 through 3.
So does that just make you kind of even out to be like, it's okay kind of thing? Or kind of so far. It's and like that's the thing is like it went from like, yo, you should watch this, to now I'm like,
You don't have to.
If you liked I, Tonya, I think it's like it's a fun watch, and it doesn't overstay its welcome episode to episode. I don't think, like in terms of like how long they are. So yeah, Joe, you about to say something?
I was, but now I forgot. The thing that I find most interesting about this show is how much Lily James and Sebastian Stan, I think, have really interesting chemistry on screen compared to the interviews that I've watched about it, where they look like they have zero chemistry in any interview, where it's like, and just the stuff that I've watched where it's like they pretty much didn't interact, not in character at all, around the filming of this, because they were both in like makeup and hair and costuming for so much of life of the filming, that like they pretty much only saw each other while they were filming, and then didn't interact at all. So I'm just mostly impressed. I'm like, you guys must be really great actors, because watching you on like Jimmy Kimmel, it's like, oh, I never would have pegged this as being a great on-screen couple. So not great, but compelling.
I will say the hair and makeup team should win every Emmy possible.
Yes.
However, the Jay Leno makeup is awful.
Why?
It's and to start the series, Jay Leno.
Oh.
And to start the series on that shot, I was like, oh no, why are we doing this? And like, I thought he looked awful, and I don't want to end on a negative spot because I do think it's worth watching, and the hair and makeup team again transformative on every single person. But the Jay Leno thing I just needed to shout out because it is egregious. It's so bad.
I do want to say I feel like that was such a good place to start it with how different the world was. Like I don't think that a leaked sex tape, like there's no way that's how a late night show would interview someone about something like that now.
Fair. No, I agree with that, Kev. Yeah, totally.
So
I just thought like the actual way Jay Leno looked was awful.
Yeah. He looked terrible. But like I thought like what a smart way to be like, look at the state of the world and how people are like perceiving this and how just unabashedly that he's asking about this horrible thing that has happened to her. So I thought, man, strong start, but it's for me. I'm also watching it. It is kind of like I'm getting to the point where it's like I like the Seth Rogen stuff, and I kind of feel like as we move away from that, what's the name of the husband?
Tommy,
yeah, sorry.
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan. Like his character is just so unlikable that it like every time that we're with him, I'm just like, I don't know, this guy's such an asshole.
But I'm glad that it's like that though, because before the show started, I was really worried that they were gonna like romanticize Pam and Tommy in like a
I do feel
bad
like
way.
In the second episode or wherever when they go to Mexico, there's a bunch of stuff that like they have romanticized. Like he was like doping her with
she didn't know.
I think it was like ecstasy or something, and like this show makes it seem more like a choice where he's in the bar and he like offers it to her.
Yeah, it's tough when you try to make this stuff entertainment, right? Especially in this, and that you take some artistic liberties that are, especially with talking about consent and we've all talked about, is like that stuff is the icky stuff. Yeah,
totally. Before we move on, though, let me tell you about our sponsors.
Your to-do list is absolutely bonkers between those meetings, errands, chores, and making sure you get some you time too. So make sure you get a little time to yourself with some help from DoorDash. DoorDash brings you what you want to eat right now, right to your door. Desperately craving late night snacks? Or have you forgot one key ingredient for dinner? Or maybe you just want to stock up for the week? Well, DoorDash has it all in one app. How do I know so much about DoorDash? Well, I'm Greg Miller and I use DoorDash way too much. If you were watching the KindaFunny podcast when we were talking about a whole bunch of different stuff, Nick mentioned the ice cream place he really liked, and I said, where is there one around me? And I said, yes, there is, and I ordered from it and I had it on the post show. I was eating ice cream on the post show, giving you a review of the ice cream, all because of DoorDash. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code KindaFunny. That's 25% off, up to a $10 value, and 0 delivery fees in your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code KindaFunny. Don't forget that's code KindaFunny for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply. I don't care how soft or firm your mattress topper is. I don't even care how heavy your blanket is. There's only one thing you need to get a good night's sleep, and that's a good mattress. Get the only thing you truly need for a great night's sleep, a Purple mattress. Only Purple mattresses have the Gel Flex Grid. It's a super stretchy, ultra squishy material that adapts and flexes around pressure points and doesn't retain heat. It's amazingly supportive and cushioning in all the right places, no matter how you sleep. How do I know so much about it? Well, of course, you've known for years Joey's used a Purple mattress. You know Tim uses the Purple pillow, and now the future class of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr. is sleeping on a Purple mattress, and he tells me all the time it keeps him cool, comfortable, and gives him a great night's sleep. Getting a great night's sleep starts with having a great mattress. Get a Purple mattress. Go to purple.com/kindafunny and use the code KindaFunny. For a limited time, you can get 10% off any order of $200 or more. That's purple.com/kindafunny, code KindaFunny for 10% off your order of $200 or more. That's purple.com/kindafunny, promo code KindaFunny. Terms apply.
And now that we're back, let's talk about Murderville. The Netflix show. This was with Will Arnett. For those that don't know, it's a murder mystery show where there is a script, there is a plan. Every episode has a celebrity guest cameo that is Will Arnett's partner, and they do not get the script. They have to improv the entire episode alongside Will Arnett, and Will Arnett is kind of improvising back, keeping it on track of the script, but dealing with whatever's thrown at him. It is 6 episodes. All of them are out on Netflix. Joey Noel, have you watched it, and what are you thinking?
I've watched a couple episodes at this point, and I like pretty much didn't vibe with it kind of right off the bat. Um, I I think that the premise is really good. I'm coming to terms that Will Arnett might not be my person anymore. I think I used to really, really love him back in like the Arrested Development days, and I think these days his like shtick is like not really vibing with me as much anymore. And I think the show needs to refine a little bit more of like what type of person they're casting. Is it like a comedian? Is it stand up? Is it improv? Is it actors? Like who kind of fits the bill the best? So I think it's a little bit messy in terms of they're trying to figure that out. And even within that, like I don't necessarily think that like one specific category of actor or comedian fits this show really well, because like I didn't think I've watched clips of like pretty much all the episodes to figure out which ones I actually want to watch. And like I thought Kumail was really good, but like Ken Jeong I did not think was very good. And so like I think it's gonna be, I think it has like really great bones, but I think finding the right people to do it is gonna be tricky, because it is like a weird list of people that can roll with the punches like that.
Matt?
Yeah, I've watched all 6 episodes, and I think I liked it more than Joey. I do think it is hit or miss based on who the celebrity guest star is. Where I found myself not really liking Conan, and I even like Kumail was great at times, but then there were people that I was surprised that I thought were really, really great, like Marshawn Lynch and Sharon Stone, who I was not expecting to like those episodes. Those were the 2 episodes where I'm like, I can't imagine these are going to be good. And then I watched them, and maybe because my expectations were so low, which is why I liked those episodes where I thought Conan and Kumail would be great. And then I was like, oh, those were pretty good. But yeah, I think the premise is fantastic, and I think there's a lot to kind of giggle about. Do I think it's must-see TV? Absolutely not. But is it like okay bedtime viewing? Like if you're lying in bed and want like a 30-minute thing to kind of laugh at before you fall asleep, like I think you'll probably have a good time. And then going back to the theme of like whodunits and murder mysteries and things like that, like I already said that I really enjoyed that. So it was fun to kind of play along with it like it's an escape room and go, because they really don't know who the killer is and they're guessing at the end just like you would be. So I kind of liked that element for going, okay, after the first episode, I go, okay, I kind of see how they put these together, and then I know what I'm looking for. And then I thought that was really fun as well. But yeah, I thought Sharon Stone killed it. I thought Marshawn Lynch killed it. I liked Ken Jeong just because at how much he just laughed at everything. And I think that's the funniest thing is when they're breaking, it's like in SNL. Like the best part of SNL is like when the cast breaks and they break character, and like he almost did it too much, but it was continuously funny for me. But and then the other thing is like I like that it also tried to kind of tell this like story for Will Arnett's character, as dumb as it was, like having recurring characters and having his dead partner be Jennifer Aniston. I thought was hilarious, and just keep cutting back to that, which I thought was very, very funny. So yeah, I think it's hit or miss, but I think it's still like an enjoyable kind of forgettable watch.
Yeah, that is such a good way to put it. I do not think it is must-watch TV at all. Having said that, me and G watched it in one sitting, the entire thing. And I think that is the best way to watch this, because I feel like each individual piece of this is never that great. And even if you were to watch, what's the best episode? I think it's Kumail's. If you were to just watch that, I don't think you'd be like, this is great. You'd probably be like, this isn't that good. But in the context of all of them, I feel like it makes every element better because of what Matt's talking about the dumb little storyline for Will Arnett that's like carried through. Like the way that they handle it episode to episode and where it ends, I'm like, that's pretty fun. And that makes all the other things better. And in the same way, like to what Joey's saying of like finding the right type of people to do the things, I think why the show works as well as it does is how different all of the people are and how Will Arnett treats them differently, where Kumail is playing on hard mode. And that is what makes it funny, is that them throwing and they're giving it right back to each other of just like, okay, cool, but didn't you have this type of accent? And then now they have to do it that accent. Good. Like, didn't I thought your leg got injured, so you have to walk this way. So now the rest of the time he has to walk a specific way. Like that type of stuff, I don't think would have hit as hard if it wasn't the 3rd episode where we had already seen Conan, who was like kind of just like the
whatever.
7 out of 10 standard
Yeah.
of just like, here's the pitch of what this show is, right? Then kind of like Marshawn Lynch is like, but here's what it could be. We're playing on easy mode, everybody, and we're just going to let him go and see what happens. And it ended up being awesome because he brought his own unique energy to the whole thing. And I feel like as it just kept going on, there's a lot of moments like that where Will Arnett, I'm with Joe in that, well, just in the sense that like he's not my dude. I don't like him at all. I loved him in this. I cannot believe how talented he is. And out of the whole thing, he is the improv star. Like he always takes the baton and runs with it from some of these super mega talented people and Annie Murphy. But
I was gonna say I love Annie Murphy, but her episode was a bit rough. Like I love her because like again, Canadian Schitt's Creek is just like I love her, but that episode I was like, oh no, Annie, no.
Yeah, and I will say though, I think that her episode was necessary because, and I liked that it was 5 out of 6 because it shows that this doesn't always just work this good. Like even for it to be as good as the other episodes are, it's because these people are really good at what they do, and when they're not, it comes off this way. But I liked seeing that. So this is a weird example for me of like a show that at the end of the day, I don't even think is good, but when you have it all together, I think it's great. And it's a weird thing that I don't think any other show I've ever seen I would stand by that with, where no single episode is that special, but together it's a special product that I want to see more of. And I like it all being dropped at once. I like it being just small 6 episodes, and we'll see where it goes from here. Next up, I want to talk about Yellowjackets. I have not seen this. Joey.
Tim.
Yellowjackets is so good. Oh my gosh. Me and Matt and his fiance Neves had a group DM talking about theories and stuff like that. This is the show where like normally the like we talked earlier about the whodunits doesn't really like do it for me, but this was a show that like I was talking to Matt Neves about. I was talking to Goldfire about, talking to my friend Maria, looking at the subreddit, like where I was digging in really into the like how is this all gonna work out? So the pitch on it is that it's a girls' high school soccer team in the 90s that are going to some sort of championship. I don't know. They're flying, and the plane they have a plane crash, and they end up in the Canadian wilderness. And you find out, because it goes back and forth to current day and flashbacks, that they're stuck in the Canadian wilderness for 18 months. And then you catch up with some of the characters in present day. So you're trying to, it's a lot of figuring out characters, because matching the older characters with their younger counterparts and figuring out like which storylines kind of go back and forth together. But then they start to reveal of like what happens and who's connected and how do they get out. There's also this like underlying thing where they're teasing cannibalism throughout the whole thing of like,
I wouldn't even say teasing, Joey.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but they have so you kind of get to figure out. I don't know. I'm bad at the recappy things, Matt.
No, you were doing a great job. I just mean that. No, you crushed it. But I just mean it's very overt. Like they're eating each other. And it's just, it's like I was like, oh fuck. It's like in one of the first scenes, you're just like, Jesus, this is like really intense. And yeah, Joey did a great job. But like, yeah, I'm also we had this group message going of like, who is the queen of this group, or what was the horned queen or whatever. It's been a while, but yeah. It's great, and I think I would have almost rathered it been a mini series rather than maybe something that keeps going, just because like I would have liked this just to be a self-contained story, because I did feel by the end of this season I was like, this is getting to a point where I'm like, it feels like they're extending it just for extending its sake, where they're like leaving out information conveniently that they don't tell you about, that the characters probably would have been talking about in the present day and things like that. So I had some issues with it, but I just found it like thoroughly enjoyable. Like to what Joey said, like the casting, I think between the younger girls and the older women and their like contemporary counterparts, I think the editing does a great job to kind of implant that in your brain and going, oh, that's this person, okay, that's this person. But I also did find myself enjoying the stuff in the wilderness with them in the 90s as the like stranded more than the okay, we're home now. How do we deal with like keeping this a secret and no one finding out that we all ate each other and did these fucked up things? So that whole plot line in the I don't know how you felt, Joey, but that like the present day stuff, I felt like I wasn't as interested in, even though I liked a lot of the actors and thought they were giving great performances. I was just like, I just want to get back to the wilderness and see like how they get to that point, because I think it starts at a point where it's like it's wild. They're all dressed up in some Blair Witch outfits and they're eating each other. And you're like, how do they get to this point? And they're like, is there a supernatural element? Like, what is going on? And
there's some like culty really things.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it is so much like we have to keep this a secret. Like we can't let people know this, but then it's like, well, we still don't really know what you're even really trying to hide. So like, let's get to that part so we can feel what the stakes are as to why you don't want it. The thing that I think is really cool is that they have pulled a lot of actresses from the 90s that were big. So like Juliette Lewis plays one of the current day people. Christina Ricci plays the most unhinged character in the entire thing. And I think they did a really good job with her and her younger counterpart specifically. Melanie Linsky, who I knew as like the girl who brought a baby to a bar in Sweet Home Alabama. I don't know how other people know her.
Okay.
But she's like the lead and she's excellent. And then one of is it her and her younger counterpart, I think, is the girl in The Kid Detective, right?
Yeah, Sophie Nélisse. Yeah.
She's really good. Like both sides, the younger cast and the older cast, I think are really, really, really well fleshed out. I totally agree. It's a fun show. The soundtrack for it is killer because it's a bunch of like 90s bangers.
Yeah.
And the styling and stuff like that is really fun. I'm excited. I hope that they do kind of like the Succession thing versus the Lost thing, where like, hey, we have a story to tell and we know that we can do it in 3 or 4 seasons and that's just what we're going to do, versus like Lost, where it's like, how long can we drag this out and can we figure out how to fill those holes?
Exactly.
And
it has a lot of Lost vibes too, for sure. But I think the creators have talked about that they have like a 3 to or I think it might be even a 5-season plan to it. But yeah, the younger cast too, like you have Jasmine Savoy Brown, who was just recently in 5 Cream. She was the one of the twins. Then you have Sophie Thatcher, who was recently in Book of Boba Fett as one of the mod. She was the young woman mod. Yeah, the main one. So like, yeah, the cast absolutely rips, and like I'm surprised how like nasty and violent it was. And then like
there are 2 scenes where I had to like take out my headphones and be like, I can't listen to this because this is gnarly. And it's a Showtime show, so they definitely are higher on the gore levels than a lot of other stuff I'm watching, I think. But
Joey, how do you feel about the theme? Because this is something I'm torn on, because they don't, in the first 2 episodes, they don't have like an intro. And then the 3rd episode, there's randomly an intro, at least in like the version I was watching. And then it's like, I'm like, man, I love opening credits to movies and TV shows. Like it's one of the things that I nerd out about. And like, this was one where I'm like, I don't know if I vibe with this. Like, I just don't, it was something I'm like, I never skip credits, but this is a show where I'm like, I might skip credits.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I skipped them. Like I couldn't even tell you what the theme is for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I feel like it's so forgettable, and like it's just like weird, eerie, creepy music and like flashes to things that don't actually mean anything, right?
Yeah, I'm watching it now. This is dope as hell out of context.
Really? Do you hear the music too?
Yeah.
You know what? I will say, like the first couple times I'm like, I don't know if I like this. And I'm like, do I like this? And then by the end I was like, I don't know if I like this. But like, it's got that kind of weird grungy vibe, and that's being in the 90s too. And like, it was just so weird because the first 2 episodes don't have it, and I'm like, why did they only like start doing it in the 3rd episode?
That's
like,
that's weird.
It is very weird, unless I'm like totally missed something. But a lot of good like horror directors too, like Karen Kusama directed the first episode
pilot, yeah.
And then you also have, I mean, I keep bringing up Blair Witch, but Eduardo Sanchez, who directed the original Blair Witch Project, directed the finale of the first season. So like there's some cool people, and Deepa Mehta, who is a Canadian filmmaker, or an Indian Canadian filmmaker, did an episode too. And it's a really cool, like it just has like a really cool vibe to it. And I like that whole, like if you liked Lost and like trying to figure out mysteries, like but it's like a super violent, fucked up version of that. And I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah. It's like Girl, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. Easiest way
That
to
sold
describe
me. That sounds like very up my alley. To close out this episode of the Kind of Funny Screencast, is there any shows that we haven't talked about? I'm going to go around. Everyone gets one show or thing on streaming platforms that they want to recommend to people that we haven't talked about yet. You ready to go, Joe?
Yeah.
Go, Joe.
So there's only 2 episodes. Actually, today the 3rd episode might have come out. Severance on Apple TV Plus. This is an Adam Scott. I guess he's just in it. I don't know if he's actually has
Stiller
anything else to
directed.
do with it.
Ben Stiller is the
Oh yeah,
director,
that's right. I did see him in the credits. It's weird. I like it so far. I have no idea how they're going to land the plane on it. The pitch is that they work for a company, and if you work on this certain floor of the company, you can elect to have the severance procedure done, which is your consciousness between work and outside of work is severed. So you get to work, you put all your stuff in this little box, you get in the elevator, and from then on, your work self exists on this one floor and your other consciousness exists on the other. What they are doing is they're like parsing data essentially and like sifting through things. They have no idea really why they're doing it or what they're doing, and that's part of the mystery, I guess, working for this big giant conglomeration. It has a really interesting cast of people. So it has Adam Scott, Zach Cherry, who plays like the guy on Bart and Shang-Chi and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
That like random background guy. Who's either in John Turturro is in it. Patricia Arquette is really weird and creepy in it. She plays like a boss. It's weird. So you're trying to essentially figure out like they're trying to figure out, one of the girls in it is trying to quit because she's like, I hate this, I don't want to do it, but she can't leave because she's elected to this procedure. And then it's interesting to see like in their non-work sides, like how people react to them going through the severance procedure, because it seems like it's pretty new. There's like a activist side of things that they don't want this to be a thing that companies can do for their employees. It has like a lot of different layers and stuff, but it is one of those things where it's like, ooh, this in the first episode, this one guy just doesn't come back and Adam Scott gets promoted. And then where did he go and what did he do? And can you get it reversed? And like, what's the people on the outside are trying to communicate with people on the inside to like figure out what this big secret is and stuff like that. It's very interesting. It is a weird, creepy, unsettling vibe. And I have no idea where they're going with this essentially, but I want other people to watch it so we can talk about it.
You think you're going to stick with it?
I think so. I'm interested enough in all of this. I think the performances are really good, that I want to keep going. There's also people that I'm looking at in IMDb that I was like, I don't think I've seen you in any of this, but I'm interested to keep going.
Is it
Matt?
comedic at all?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
I
Which is
like
weird
Ben
from Adam
Stiller as a
Scott.
yeah, and I like Ben Stiller as a director. Like, I feel like he's kind of in the same camp as Ben Affleck, where it's like he's almost a better director than actor. I mean, I like a lot of early Ben Stiller stuff too, but like he always makes interesting choices, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm always interested in something he does. I really want to watch it. I just haven't yet. For me, I guess I'll rep Canada, and another kind of silly comedic show that isn't necessarily must-see TV, but is again good bedtime viewing, which is something that I just feel like every night just try to throw on something mindless. So Last One Laughing Canada just premiered on Prime Video, which is, if you guys are familiar, like if you watch the Rooster Teeth version, which was called The Last Laugh, it is the same concept essentially as that show, but they've done it with a whole bunch of different countries. So they just launched the Canadian edition, which is hosted by Jay Baruchel. You guys might know him from This Is the End and other things. So he hosts it. He's kind of in that Jeff Ramsey thing where he's watching everyone and coming up with bits to try to make people laugh and then getting them out. But the cast is really good, even from like not just a Canadian perspective, because like
Colin
I feel
Mockery.
like, yeah, Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Tom Green, Andrew Fung, who's from Kim's Convenience. Dave Foley, who you guys might know from like some Pixar movies, like he was Terry in Monsters University and Bugs Life, obviously from Kids in the Hall and different things like that. You have Caroline Ray, who people might know from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Jean Lajoie, who is like kind of a viral, he was like in the early days of YouTube making like viral musical videos and things like that. Like,
whoa. Hold on. John
Lajoie. So
that's how you say that guy's name?
Yeah, Jean Lajoie, because he's from Montreal. Yeah.
Wow,
I always
that's
said
crazy.
LaJouie. Like
Dude.
I always said John LaJouie, but like
I've been wondering what this guy's up to. That's
yeah,
awesome.
dude. And he also did the music on the after party. So he wrote all the music in the for the musical episode, because like I was randomly like, oh shit, good for him,
so
man. And then K. Trevor Wilson, who people might know from Letterkenny, is on it as well. So like Deborah DiGiovanni, some more like Canadian people too. Brandon Ash Mohammed, Mae Martin, who was on a Netflix show, I think called, what was it? She was on a Netflix show recently, Feel Good. But I'm really enjoying this. Like I like the Rooster Teeth version just because I mean, you guys knew a lot of people on that show and I knew them through watching you guys. I had a good time watching it, but this one, just like a lot of these people, like Tom Green, I haven't thought about in forever, but he's just making me laugh so fucking much on this show that I'm like, man, Tom Green still has it. Like I'm like, I did not think I would be laughing so much at Tom Green, because it's just someone I haven't thought about. And like Colin Mockery, like I grew up with Whose Line Is It Anyway? And just like it's a show that I'm like surprised at how much I'm laughing, and it's just really silly, really stupid. But the production value is there. Like the set is great, and the guest stars they get on to do ridiculous things to try to make people laugh. But it is that kind of cringy, awkward thing, because it is a bunch of people trying to make each other laugh, and they're all trying not to laugh. But it weirdly makes it funnier in this, because you can just see how hard they're trying not to laugh, and I'm just like really, really enjoying it. There's 4 of the 6 episodes out right now, and I think it's available on Prime Video like worldwide. It's just they have different countries that they've done it, and most of them are like international versions that aren't in English. So I think this might be one of the first.
Yeah,
in Australia.
I don't know if this is the same exact series, but the original concept of this was a Japanese show called Documental. That everybody was always talking about. Like that's what I remember Elise was telling me, like that they got the idea from that. So I can't imagine this cast you're talking about. I think I gotta watch this.
You got it. It's really funny.
I'm sold on
like
the cast.
It's good CanCon, because like there obviously is great TV that comes from Canada. You guys mentioned Degrassi, like that's what we call it here. We have to like me doing this. I'm like, I can send it to the government and they'll be like, you did your CanCon for the month, Matt. Because like we have to do a specific amount of this stuff, and it's usually trash, because it's just like we have to make Canadian TV for our Canadian TV stations, and you're like, oh my god, it's always so bad. But then you get the odd thing that's like really good, and then this is like, oh shit, Amazon put money into this, and it's actually like really funny. So I highly suggest people don't get scared because it says Canada. Just give it a shot. A lot of these people are universally like, I think, loved, so give it a shot. It's really funny.
And then for me, just to wrap this up, I want to give a shout out to Jeen-Yuhs, which is the Kanye documentary on Netflix.
Right.
It's 3 parts. 2 parts are out now. The final part comes out next week. Each part is, I want to say, like an hour and a half, somewhere around there. It is undeniably one of the most fascinating pieces of content I have ever seen, and I just can't believe that it exists. It is Kanye West in the year 2002 to 2005 right now is what we've seen, and we're about to get a lot more next episode to cover the rest of time up till now. But what's crazy about it is back when Kanye was first producing for Jay-Z, like Izzo and things like that like blew him up in the earliest days, before he was a rapper, before he put out College Dropout, before anyone even let him rap. It's during that moment he hired this guy to follow him around with a camera and mic, and every moment is captured on camera, and it's just real. It's all the real times of him going to the record label and playing them uncomfortably, All Falls Down, and they were just sitting there like, we don't want to listen to this. Stop. You're being fucking weird, Kanye. Like, and he's being weird as shit, and it's not a dramatization. Like, this is the real moment that Jay-Z first heard this song. Like, it's crazy to see the amount of times I'm watching this. I'm like, oh my God, they just recorded the verse to Never Let Me Down, and that is the take they used in the song. They just did that in like a closet. Like, what? Like, all those type of moments are crazy, and he'll just be like walking through a hallway and Beyonce's just there chilling, and like they just talk for a second, casual, and it's like, it's so crazy because it's the most real time. This is just history. This is just all the things that happened, and it's them actually happening in real time. And like, I don't think there's any more fascinating human being in the world to look at and be like, I wish someone followed them around with the camera when they first got started than Kanye West, because you see the arrogance in him. You see the cockiness, all the bad things about Kanye now, you can see them then. And like, it's fucking deeply unnerving that like, and again, there's so much good that comes from that too. Like obviously the success and especially what he did to change the rap game back then. But like to see him just chilling with his homies at a Burger King and like just talking about like trying to get other people on like to just fucking care about him, it's like the most insane thing I have ever witnessed. Like I'm constantly watching this and I'm having to pause and remind myself like these aren't actors like reenacting what happened. This is actually what happened, and it makes it feel so much sadder in so many ways, but also so much more hype. Like to see him win the Grammy, it's like holy shit, he did that. And it's like to see how he willed it into existence, it's like, it's crazy. But the biggest thing for me is his mom. She's featured in this constantly. And oh my God, she is just a 10 out of 10 human being. She is just so supportive, so nice, so smart. There's just so many like drops of wisdom that she's just like casually handing out. And I just like would have never expected that I would be able to connect with Kanye West's mom in any way besides just through his music that is obviously so from his perspective. But like it really just kind of, for somebody that grew up with this music and like that has heard the early albums countless times, to see the kind of behind the scenes of it all in such a real honest way, I cannot believe we're actually lucky enough to get this. And if you're not the biggest Kanye fan at any point in your life, I don't know if it's going to work for you at all. But if you ever have given a shit about college dropout, late registration, graduation, all of that, it is required viewing and you are going to have an amazing time.
Nice.
It's also interesting to think about things from like that time period before, because I feel like now when people record stuff like that, it's like, oh, there's you're putting on a persona of like, I'm recording this and like when I blow up and I'm famous and like this will be my story, versus like this is really just documenting, it seems like, those times for him, and he wasn't trying to like make this footage a thing. Like,
I mean, well, what's really, really crazy, and I'm gonna spoil something here, but like it's also not spoilers because it's life and it really happened.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. But that resulted in some really cool opportunities where footage from this documentary is straight up just in the Through the Wire video. Like,
oh,
like all the behind the scenes footage. It's because this guy was around following him when he got his like jaw broken in the car crash. And like they deal with all of this shit in ways that I'm like, I just can't believe there's actually footage of this shit. But it's really cool. They end up having the guy like shoot the video. And so this is the other thing that's crazy is like, because it's real, this guy that's following him around kind of had to just uplift his life and follow Kanye around. And there was no guarantee that was going to turn into anything. Because like Kanye was just a producer then, and granted a successful producer, but what does that even mean? Like that wasn't like, he was not a millionaire by any stretch of the imagination. So he was just scrapping by, and this dude's kind of following around, and we see Kanye get bigger and kind of leave the documentary guy behind. And it's really sad where on camera you see him be like, oh man, so what are we going to do for the next video? And Kanye's like, I think I'm going to work with Hype Williams on it. I'm sorry, man. Like, you're great, but like, I this is a big opportunity.
That's
and it's like
up.
heartbreaking because it's real.
Yeah.
Anyways, you guys should check it out. Tweet at me at Tim Geddes. Let me know if you're enjoying it when you watch it. But Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You?
You can find me on podcast services, YouTube. Just search for the Untitled Movie Podcast or Untitled Movie Reviews. We got a big week coming up next week. You guys will have a Batman review. We will have a Batman review. We will also be posting our Turning Red review, which is a new Pixar movie. So that review will drop next week. But the easiest place, just go.
Fresh review?
Maybe a fresh one? Is that what you said?
The new
yes, I did request fresh. There's another Sebastian Stan thing. Yeah. Also on Disney Plus.
We should do one too, because it's gonna be wild. And I want to talk to, this is another one I just want to talk to more people about.
Sure. I mean, Joey, you're always welcome. We are reviewing it over on our show, so you can swing by if you want there or whatever. But I'm excited to see that. If you guys have Letterboxd, just go over to Untitled_movies on Letterboxd. Our HQ there has kind of a one-stop shop for all our YouTube content, our podcast content, and things like that. And you can catch me on some of my questions on Family Feud Canada starting soon. That's what I'm doing right now. So that's been fun.
That is the coolest thing you could have ever said.
I'm writing questions for Family Feud, and it's been a trip. It's been fun.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah, dude. Well, anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff on the Screencast. We was talking about the Batman review. We're going to do the Euphoria review, and then eventually the weekly Moon Knight stuff and some other fun things as well. I'm hoping, and it depends on how they end up releasing the show, but The Boys Presents Diabolical, the animated show that from the Invincible team is doing a Boys anthology series that comes out in a couple weeks. And I think we might just do one review, but we'll see. But stay tuned for all of that. But until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.
So many good things out right now. I'm really excited